Hey everyone, my name is Matt Mitchell and I'm the owner of Mitchell Event Planning. I'm a master certified wedding planner and ambassador through the Bridal Society, the leading wedding planning certification program in the world and the largest membership of certified wedding planners and venues. We at the Bridal Society know how important hiring an educated wedding planner or coordinator is. The Bridal Society is a wedding planner lifestyle membership and certification program focused on raising the standards in the industry and ensuring that all couples have an opportunity to have the wedding day of their dreams. Today, we are back for episode 5 of It Takes Two. If you missed last month's interview with Rich Gunderlock, be sure to check it out. I'll link it above and include the link in our show notes below. Speaking of missing an episode, be sure to subscribe to my channel and select the bell icon to be notified every time we release a new video. Today, I'm speaking with Billy Burch, the owner of Fizzy Atlanta Co. Welcome, Billy. How are you doing today?
Hey, Matt. How are you? Thanks for having us.
You are so welcome. It's been a little minute since I've seen you, and I'm sure a lot of people that are tuning in today haven't had the pleasure of meeting you. So if you don't mind starting off with a little bit about yourself and your company, that would be wonderful.
Well, I will. Go ahead. My name is Billy, as you just said. I am the owner of Fizzy Atlanta, which we are a private events company that specializes in creating wonderful, unique memories out of the back of 2 beautiful Italian trucks. So you may have heard the name Fizzy Beverage Cart or Frothy Coffee and Goods. Those are our 2 little trucks that we tote around and provide all sorts of beverage catering for events like corporate, wedding, social, really anything that can gather people together.
Yes, and both of them, if you haven't, are super cute, and they have a lot of capabilities, which I'm sure we can get into a little bit in just a minute. But if you wouldn't mind, just tell me what inspired you to get into the wedding industry. I know that you obviously service a lot more than just the wedding industry, but what kind of brought you into the wedding space as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was inducted, I guess, into hospitality and restaurants at a pretty young age. About 16, 17 years old, I started, working in restaurants, and I just caught the bug. Just really for creating experiences for others. It always gave me just an electric feeling to see smiles on others' faces, when we could deliver something that was kind of out of the ordinary. I just grew up. I grew up in hospitality. Out of the last, I'm almost 40 now. So, since then, I think I've only spent a couple of years outside of the hospitality industry in general. When I left hospitality, the goal was to create something where I could still create those memorable experiences for others, just in a different form and fashion. The restaurant industry is a bit thankless, and we wanted a little bit of work-life balance outside of just working in restaurants where I was gone from my family, holidays, weekends, nights, consistently all the time. And so that's why Fizzy Beverage Cart exists, is we were looking for that kind of work-life balance, and we found that through our business now is that we can still create these exceptionally, happy and exciting moments, of something that's not really expected, just in a different form. And, we kind of fell into the wedding industry, so to speak. We had always envisioned doing like corporate events and festivals and things like that. But when COVID hit, we really kind of pivoted hard to do like the at-home, weddings, is the micro wedding, the backyard wedding. How can we continue to bring people together and make them feel special in an environment that necessarily is like your backyard? It's your everyday, so we really started doing a lot of micro weddings over the summer, 2020 following COVID. And then the wedding industry just picked us up and just kind of catapulted us in. And now we're booked way in advance for weddings, 2022, 2023 and beyond.
Yeah, well, what a great product. And I would like to kind of spend some time on that, if you don't mind. Just take us through your 2 carts and a little bit of what you offer with both and kind of the client experience y'all hope to achieve in both of those.
Absolutely. So Fizzy Beverage Cart is what we call like a tap truck. Fizzy has 6 taps designated to serve basically any cold beverage. And that can be beer, wine, signature cocktails, kombucha, cold brew, seltzer, I mean, literally, if it's a liquid and it's served cold, I could probably serve it. In fact, I've done many. So there's really not a whole lot of limitations to it. I think that's the most exciting thing, is that it's super quick. I mean, we talk about serving like a 200 guest wedding in no time flat, because literally we're just pouring from taps and serving. There's not a whole lot of mixing on site involved. So it's interesting and unique. And I think beer taps kind of got a bad rap, right? Is that everybody sees taps and they're like, oh, do you have beer on there? Well, yeah, we have beer, but we also do a ton of other things. So it's almost like we're like teaching as we're going through planning events with people and even working events, that we're just kind of showing them a different world with tap beverages. And so Fizzy was kind of like our initial truck and our first launch. And while we were working with Fizzy, we realized that everybody really loved booze, but with local legislation and laws, there's so many hoops to jump through as far as serving alcohol. So with our second truck, we wanted to do something that was, one, more family friendly, and then two, something that we could do in public, something that we could roll up and just start serving almost anywhere. So that ended up being coffee, pastry, and gelato. So we took another one of these Italian trucks and turned it into bean, for a coffee bean, and we made it into our mobile coffee truck. We've got a commercial Italian espresso machine mounted on the back, serving up lattes and espressos and cortados, made to order for your guests. We've got a 4-pan gelato freezer that we serve honeysuckle gelato out of, which is also made in Atlanta. And then we have another tap system on there, so we can still do those tap beverages on that truck, but at least it lets us do some hot beverage, some cold beverage, some ice cream or gelato, all sorts of family-friendly items that we can offer at any time of the day, not just doing like a PM event or anything that involves alcohol.
Yeah, well, that's what I really like about your company, is you have the flexibility to kind of get what you need as a consumer. And I've had the pleasure of working with the Fizzy truck before, and super excited for upcoming wedding where we're have being there. So super excited to see that side of it too. Now, as we all evolve in our businesses and jumping into something, we always learn more, of course, as we work our way through it. There's always that moment in time where you look back and you're like, man, I wish I would have known that before doing all this work. What is one thing that you wish you would have known before kind of stepping into the wedding space?
I think how hard just logistics of all of this is. Atlanta is a huge wedding market. I mean, we're talking about, one, size and scope of just people, but also the Atlanta market, I mean, takes us an hour to an hour and a half away from the city of Atlanta itself. And so I think one of the biggest challenges that we've faced, and something that I didn't anticipate, is just the logistics of it. Is we do have vehicles. Unfortunately, these vehicles need to be towed. They can't be driven because they go like 25 miles an hour, and we come with a ton of stuff that goes with them. That's like number one question is, did you drive it here? It's like, I wish I could drive it here. No, I can't. And that's the biggest thing is getting these things on site, set up, and just fighting through any logistical challenges. I guess the North Georgia area is known for its beautiful landscape and mountains, but that also leads to challenges of these beautiful wedding venues that are on the sides of mountains that we have to basically get up to and set these trucks up literally on these steep inclines or declines or whatever it's going to be. So I think just the logistical challenges overall, it's been something that we've had to kind of learn as we go.
Yes. And I remember that specifically for the Fizzy truck that we used for a wedding, was you really scaling Fizzy up the mountain to try to get her positioned in the back patio there. So yeah, definitely a lot of brain power on your end too, a lot of brains and brawn to make sure you get it in the right spot. Okay, so when it comes, now you can really answer this kind of wherever you see yourself fitting, but a lot of people, vendors specifically, there's like some myths that come about, when clients are shopping, they have a perceived, I don't know, opinion or a thought about a specific vendor. Is there any kind of myth or anything like that you want to debunk for people listening in your space?
I think one is just that like our capabilities is, I think again, people taps or people see certain things in the truck and they just assume it can only do, maybe just beer or maybe just wine or anything like that. I mean, I think one of the biggest things that we're known for is being like a cocktail truck, right? Is being able to serve signature cocktails right off the taps. And so I think that's one of the things that when people reach out, they're like, hey, this looks cool, but I'm not sure it's for me. So we kind of have to, again, teach as we go, is, debunk those myths, and just kind of inform our, potential clients about our business just in general and how we operate, and really kind of show them that anything's possible. I love a good challenge. I love when, clients sometimes challenge me or planners sometimes challenge me. They have this, a dream in their head, and I'm a dreamer too. So I kind of love it when people will come and bring me something. And I'm like, oh, I haven't really thought about that, but let's explore this. Let's do this together because I think we can make this happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, what is maybe the best compliment that you received? I know you've probably received a bunch of them because you do great work, but tell me one that really resonates with you in regards to, it could be professionally, personally, from a client or another wedding professional, but what brings out to in your mind your best compliment?
Ah, gosh, I think there was a mother of a bride that just recently reached back out. Their daughter's wedding just got published, and she reached back out and she just said, I just want to thank you again for making this day so incredibly special for us. You were my favorite vendor to work with from start to finish, whether it was the planning phase or, cocktail tasting or just setting everything up or even just day of execution. And I think, knowing how many really, really great vendors they had at their wedding, I mean, this was an all-star cast, right? I mean, we're in the wedding space. We know who the big players are. And I think for her to have shared with me that even months later, after we had been kind of out of her life, that she was still looking back on that day and saying, that we were the one that made the biggest impact, and we were the one, at least from her standpoint, and that we were the one that stuck with her as somebody that, she just felt very connected to. And I think that just for me, it's a huge compliment. It's a huge win for us that, this isn't just something that you think about the day of. This isn't something you think about the next day or the next week. Like, this was months later that she was still resonating that, that we were the top, we were it. And, that's what we do it for. It's a lot of work, and sometimes it's thankless work, but, at the end of the day, we do it for our clients. We do it because we want to make those memories for them.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that's what I look for in partners like you. I mean, as a planner, I want to make sure that my client's experience with other vendors is top notch. So, just hearing that from people that are on my vendor team is phenomenal, because that's exactly what I'm looking for. The same level and attention to detail that I put into my clients, I want that to happen on every step of the way. So that's amazing. That's great. And y'all provide awesome experience and customer service for your guests. So let's kind of like transition into this a little bit, because I know that y'all done all types of events. I know that you've transitioned from just Fizzy to two now. And so I'm sure that you've come across all types of venues with all types of people. So tell me, is there ever an opportunity, or has there ever been an event that you have had to do where maybe there wasn't a planner even involved, and how was that as a vendor?
It's challenging to say the least. We try to, I guess, overcompensate with the communication and almost like try to play into those pitfalls that we've seen in the past. Because there's a lot, right? Like, it's a lot if you don't plan these things for a living. For us, weddings are at least a third of our overall business, if not more. I think this year we're going to top out somewhere in the range of 60 weddings. Next year, we've already got 50 something on the books. So, I mean, this is something that we do quite regularly. And again, I work for my clients. I want them to feel like I have their back and that I'm looking out for their best interest the entire way. And I think one of those things is that when there's not a planner involved, there's a lot of pitfalls, right? I mean, whether it's just from an ordering standpoint of making sure you have enough, to just a timeline standpoint. I mean, one of the biggest things that we see, as far as our service is I want you to know what's included, but also what's not included. And if it's not included, how can we make sure that your other vendors that we may or may not have worked with before are covering you and are making sure that they are covering, the area, whether it's a toast, right? Like toasts, they sound pretty simple in their form and fashion of, but hey, I mean, this is a 130 person wedding and you've got to pour 130 glasses of champagne or Prosecco in no time flat and get it in all of your guests' hands. I mean, it seems like it's just no big deal, right? But it's a ton of work. And so unless you have somebody that's kind of, again, taking your hand and trying to show you what's actually behind all these things, it can be very poorly executed day of. I've run into some pretty hard scenarios in some of our weddings. And I will say at least most of our weddings do have planners, but sometimes without planners, it's tough. It's tough to just keep the flow of service very natural.
Yeah, I agree. Because I mean, if there's not someone there to kind of own that space, then then at that point, like whose responsibility is it, right? And so you have a lot of people there like wondering, well, whose job is this? And we all want to create a good experience. So someone kind of has to step up and be that natural person. So yeah, that's definitely not ideal for sure. Well, that's part of my area is definitely in the education space, and that's one of the things that we like to do at the Bridal Society is making sure that we're elevating the industry. So really making sure that there's quality education for planners out there, and that's both seasoned and brand new to the industry. Now, I'm not asking you to name any names, but have you ever had a mishap with a planner out there that maybe you felt maybe wasn't quite up to snuff?
Unfortunately, I think I have. It's a busy day and things get missed and things get overlooked. And I've always said, even back in my hospitality days, it's not who you are when everybody's looking, it's who you are when nobody's looking. And it's not who you are when things are going right, it's who you are when things are going wrong. And I think those two things, can transpire from the hospitality industry all the way up into, the private event space, because they're very similar in a lot of ways, is that, things are going to go wrong. And in the moment, you've got to just diffuse, deflect, or own the situation and make sure that you can, really just keep things moving. And I think a really good planner, I mean, yourself included, I've seen you on a wedding day, and I know, in May and June and July in Georgia, it's hot. We're all out there sweating. We're all out there just moving things around and getting hands dirty. And unfortunately, like that's what it takes. It's just all about getting in there and just making things happen in the heat of the moment.
Man, that's quite a quote there, and those good. Those are good words to live by. So definitely keep those in my back pocket as well. So let's see. So I think all that's great. That's great information there, and you're so right. I mean, things that it can be a stressful situation, right? Because it's a fast-paced environment on day. So you have to have someone that's really can really just take a breath. They can be the calm, even though the storm is going, around them. They can be the calm to bring everybody back down to center. And that's something that's super important, is like just being prepared so that when those things pop up, you still have that firmness to know that we can make this happen. This will still be executed great. It may be a little bit different than we thought it would be, but that's okay. As long as that finished result is everything that we'd expected it to be, these little small mishaps are totally okay. So that's wonderful. Any other things that you want to share just about like your experience as a vendor or kind of your company as a whole?
Really, it's just, trying to find new ways to excite our clients. I know that, Fizzy and Bean and everybody, we haven't been around that long, but already, we're still trying to find ways, in the future that will still excite our clients, and, I'm again, kind of a visionary in itself, is I always like to define new ways to really get people excited. So for us is that, we love the support we've gotten so far. We hope that we will continue to have success over the next few years. But again, like we're still like a company that's going to continue growing and continue expanding and continuing to find ways to shock and excite everybody, right? Like that's kind of like the wedding industry as a whole, is that trends change and likes change and things like that. So I think for us it's just trying to figure out, not only what's in the now and how to best service our clients now, but also how to best service our clients over the next 5-10 years.
Yeah, and you're always thinking of something new and ways to kind of incorporate different things with your current offering, as well as expanding, just like we said, from Fizzy to Bean. And one thing that I love about y'all as well is like your partnerships within the community, right? So you mentioned that you partner with a local gelato company. You also partner with a local bean roaster. So I mean, like it's great that you're also bringing in other community businesses. So whenever people support you, they're also supporting additional businesses in the area, which is great. I don't know if you want to comment on any of the other partnerships that you have or that process.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very important for us to kind of build a community around Atlanta. Straight in from our trucks arriving from Italy, is that they were built by local companies, people that specialize in these things in the Atlanta market. Launching Bean, obviously, we wanted to make sure that we were using a local roaster for our coffee, a local, producer for our gelato, a local pastry supplier. It doesn't get more Atlanta than all of the offerings that we offer off being our truck. And that's important. It's really important. One, now in business, supporting local, I think, is like a catchphrase, but really it's just like we built a community, and that's the most fun thing about it, is that we can look around and see people in other industries doing amazing things with amazing specialties, and that's the fun part. That's the fun part about it. It's just seeing how well that we can be partners with those around us. I think the wedding space is a really good place to do that as well. Because it kind of highlights what we do locally. Weddings aren't always just people from Atlanta or people from the Southeast. It's an event that brings people from all over the world sometimes. And so it's fun to highlight maybe just a local brewery or, a local spirit or local coffee and local gelato. It's something different, unique that we can kind of show people about what we do.
That's awesome. Well, it's really been terrific talking with you today, Billy. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show today. Before I let you go, though, I did want to give you the opportunity to share how people can learn more about you, your company, get in touch with you, all that information.
Absolutely. Thank you. Our truck Fizzy Beverage Cart can be found on Instagram at GetFizzyATL, or our website, getfizzyatl.com. And then Frothy, which is our coffee, gelato, and pastry truck, can be found at GetFrothyATL on Instagram, and the website getfrothyatl.com.
Well, that's pretty simple. And I'll also make sure to link all of that information in the description box below the video today, so that anybody can just simply click on that so that they can get in touch with you quickly. But again, thanks so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate you having us on.
Absolutely. If you're listening today and you're interested in earning your certification in wedding planning, the Bridal Society is the very best decision that you could ever make. The members of the organization feel more like family than colleagues, and the Bridal Society provides lifetime free membership once you complete your certification, which includes countless benefits. You can visit www.thebridalsociety.com for more information. If you'd like to receive an exclusive discount code, be sure to message me. Again, my name is Matt Mitchell, owner of Mitchell Event Planning. Join me next month as I interview another fantastic wedding professional.